Us today. It's a real treat for us to be welcoming Mr. Habibullah Khan, who is the head of the Federally Administered Tribal Areas Secretariat. And he's going to be talking today about how to draw FATA into the mainstream of Pakistani politics. Now, the FATA, as many of you in this room know, has historically been granted special administrative status vis-a-vis Pakistan's government. Its mountainous geography, its proximity to Afghanistan, and its many internal challenges have all inhibited FATA's political and developmental progress. But that's starting to change, we hope. FATA has recently made some strides in governance and civil society capacity building. USAID has committed to providing $750 million to FATA over a 5-year period, which highlights the importance that the U.S. and the international community have placed on the area. Today, Mr. Khan will shed light on the prospects for this volatile region and the strategies that are currently being deployed to bring security and stability there. Now, few are better qualified to discuss this issue than Mr. Khan. As the current head of the FATA Secretariat, he directs all local development activities and manages the complex security challenges of the region. In fact, since the 80s and 90s, he's been the civil administrator of 7 different districts and agencies in FATA, including Peshawar and the strategic tribal areas of South Waziristan and Khyber along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. He also served as head of the Provincial Earthquake Reconstruction and Rehabilitation Agency in the Northwest Frontier Province, where he was in charge of its food program, and worked for the Municipal Corporation for Peshawar. Additionally, he was the Director General of the World Bank-sponsored Social Action Program for Baluchistan. Mr. Khan's long and distinguished career in Pakistan's civil service informs his insightful analysis of this very complicated situation in FATA. Before we begin, I'd like to just give you a heads up about some of our upcoming activities. Tonight we have another event at SAIS over at Johns Hopkins. The event is titled India's Israel Policy from Non-Relations to Friendship and features Professor this is going to be a hard name to pronounce, Kumaraswamy from India and Ambassador Arun Singh, India's former ambassador to Israel. That's tonight at 5:30 to 7 over at SAIS, 717 Mass Avenue. And then next week on the 22nd, we are featuring an Egyptian musician, Riyad Abdul Gawad, who's going to be talking about Sufi musical tradition. So I hope you can join us for those events. Now, please join me in welcoming Mr. Habibullah Khan. Thank you. This is your clicker.
How can I change the slides?
Yes, you just hit.
Okay, this will go.
Of course you can. Yes.
Okay, it will work. And I have 30 minutes.
That's right.
Okay.
You can go over. Nobody will be wrong.
I will try to limit myself to 30 minutes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I have the privilege to be speaking to you today on mainstreaming of FATA. Maybe I can begin with a reading that I had long time back. Gibbon wrote about Albania that it is hardly a stone throw distance from Italian coast, the most cultured area and having big name in the history of social sciences, but still Albania is an unexplored area. Same is the question of FATA. FATA is so close to Peshawar that in some places it is almost like a Canadian-American border, where the guest house is in Canada and some of the bedrooms are in United States. So some of the shops in one market are in Peshawar and the others are in FATA. But if you ask some question and some intriguing question from a Peshawar resident, he will simply reply, oh, that is Yagistan. Yagistan is an old word that has been used and that was to be used for tribal area, an area with no law, with no governance system. Yagistan means an area on its own. So I take this opportunity to try to clarify some of the myths and some of the misunderstanding, and particularly on some of the issues that always present a very and project some very gloomy picture about FATA, that perhaps this is an area which is ungoverned and this is an issue which is not manageable and perhaps there is no positive future or any prospects for that. I will try to be within the limit of 30 minutes so that we have ample time for question and answer. And I will try to answer all questions if I can. And I will try to be a bit crude. If I don't know the answer, I will simply say, sorry, I don't know the answer. So let's go first into the basics. What is FATA? What is the terrain? What are the tribesmen? What are their characteristics? And how the terrain and the social life have molded into their responses. Just to begin with, this is the map. Pakistan, and on border with Afghanistan is FATA. The area in stripped shades, you can see, that is known as the newly opened areas. These were the areas where even the British government did not reach them, and even Pakistan government did not reach them before the Russian invasion of Afghanistan. These are called the newly opened areas, and it means that previously the government had no physical access, no road communication, and no administrative access. So there was no government establishment like a law enforcement agency's picket or fort or any office of political agent or the subsidiary offices of Tehsildar or Naib Tehsildar or levies or Khasadar. Why I am highlighting this point? Because currently the militant activities, if we correlate their territorial holdout and their territorial hubs, you will find them that most of them are located in these newly opened areas. And it speaks volume that if we don't govern an area in time, it can become later on a problem that is not to be solved so easily. So this is something that we did not give proper attention to it, and the result was that when the disaster came, we were not ready for it. So with haste and with rapidity, the government opened these areas. But that social relationship and the interaction that was required with the tribe by the government, that we could not achieve. When the British government would open an area, that would start this with negotiation with the tribesmen, and ultimately it will end into an agreement, and that agreement will specify the responsibilities of both the parties.